this with you. As Mary was saying, I was in the classroom for 15 years, and honestly, the way that I got connected with Benchmark Education Company was because I was using their phonics spelling program in my school. It started out in my first grade class, and then fourth, and then upper. After that, I became a literacy coach and a reading specialist, and so then I helped my K-6, and then I even worked with some junior high students. So this is wonderful. You're going to love it. So after our Arkansas rep asked me to, well, you know, y'all are used, don't y'all love that y'all? I really, she said, well, you know, since you're using it there in your district, this district over here, they bought it, and I want you to go over there and tell them a little bit about it. And I said, well, okay. And before I knew it, she had me here and there and everywhere, and so that's how I ended up at Benchmark Education Company, and that's my home. And I love it. Everything that you're going to see today is going to be so wonderful for you as teachers. I don't know about you, but in the classroom it seemed like I had to hunt and gather and put together and write and do it all. And the wonderful thing about what you have before you, your lesson plans and all the resources you need to teach. So it's nice having that all in one place, and you don't have to worry about it. We're going to go through that this morning. Before that, just a little bit more. The accent is Southeast Arkansas. I was born and raised in Iowa from the Mississippi state line and the Louisiana state line. So that's where it comes from. However, I am a little bit more rounded now because I live in Northwest Arkansas. So believe it or not, Northwest Arkansas is a whole little country of its own. It's different from the rest of the state. Everybody's heard of Walmart? Yes. Home office, Bentonville, and that's where I live, and my kids are in the Bentonville School District. So anyway, I'm there, and we have an accent there in Arkansas. Can you believe it? But I have lived there 7 years, and I have two beautiful, sweet kids. I have a senior girl. I'm in a different phase in my life now. I have a daughter, Caitlin, who's a senior, and I have a son, Corey, who's in 10th grade. So this is having a hard time with me. Anyway, well, I just wanted you to know a little bit about me before we got started this morning. I have a big mouth. Can you hear me back there? I figured you could. A lot like my mama. But anyway, I figured since I have such a big mouth, I don't need that microphone they brought in here for me. So you'll hear me like this the whole time, I'm sure. Going ahead and getting started, I want you to get your little packet out that you were given. And I just want you to look at this sheet. What I wanted us to see is just kind of see the whole picture, because today we're just going to be focusing in on one portion of it, or one part of the whole. And so looking at this, you can see the whole. With your benchmark literacy, you're going to see everything from your assessments, and I love the assessments. Let me just tell you, have you ever had a teacher that's come up to you you have a child this year, and last year's teacher comes up and says, you sure are going to have problems with so-and-so because they just have a problem with comprehension. And you want to think, okay, comprehension. There's a lot between here and here with comprehension. Well, the cool thing about some of your assessments, the comprehension strategy assessment, you give it the beginning of school. It assesses all the strategies. And so when you get that and analyze it, which is very easy, you can see just at a glance even of who has what strategies mastered or under control and those that don't, so that when you are doing your reading instruction and literacy block, you know who specifically needs that extra emphasis on those. So that is really nice to know what areas you need to work on for individual kids as well as the whole class, you know, the class as a whole. So you have the assessments with that, plus a lot of different informal assessments to help you. And then you also have your benchmark literacy teacher resource system. So basically, you're going to be teaching your comprehension strategies. I love it. Cannot wait to share. Because everything connects. This is about everything connecting. So many times I felt like in the classroom as a teacher that I was teaching this and then this and this and then this and so forth, but nothing was really connecting or fluid. And so what you're going to see is that basically this is the research-based approach. You know, you have, I call it comprehensive literacy or balanced literacy with a front and a back cover because you do have all the resources and you can differentiate. So with that, you have all these different items that are going to help you with comprehension by first teaching the strategy with posters. Really, really, really interesting. And then, of course, you have your level text. You have independent reading text. What we're going to focus on today, the word study. And then, of course, the writer's workshop, the writing piece. So you have the whole literacy block right there together. Everything is connected because whatever you teach in whole group, you're going to move it and you're going to be working on it in small groups. So everything is connected. It's going to make a lot of sense. And one of the things that's built into your text is that the third week of every unit is emphasis on fluency. So you're going to be doing reader's theater and things of that nature. So there are lots of good things that are coming. And I just wanted to kind of take a minute just to look at the whole so that you can kind of see how everything is going. But today we're going to focus on one part of that whole, and that's going to be the phonics and word study. We're going to do the word study part, and Tammy's taking care of the phonics spelling downstairs. So anyway, you can put that aside. I just wanted to refer to that. Okay, the other thing I want us to start out with, did you bring your article from your packet? You bring your, if you didn't, don't panic, I made it. Does anybody need one? Do my friends back there need one?
By the way, the four in the back are from St. Peter. They also are considering this curriculum for adoption, and they're just here to kind of see what it has to offer.
You saw it come to the front and sit. Nobody's in front of me. Okay. I do have a slide presentation. We're going to organize things by using the PowerPoint. However, you're going to be doing a lot of things. I'm not just going to be standing here lecturing you all morning long. We are going to get on the same page by looking at some information together, and then you are going to be doing things from jigsawing articles to actually doing word sorts and seeing exactly what those lessons look like. And my goal, my personal goal today is that when you walk out of here at lunch, that you will feel comfortable and confident in what you have and how to go back and use it. That's my goal, and I think that you'll feel really good when you leave. Before the end comes, you will have seen an entire unit. So you're going to get to see what that week of instruction looks like. And so there's a unit a week. Teachers, we're going to go day 1 all the way through day 5. And it's going to be fun, it's interactive, it's engaging, and you're going to feel good because every week is designed just like that. You know, it may have different types of sorts, but it's designed the same way. So before we get started with this, I would like for you to take that article that you have, and I want us to go to the bottom, go to page 253, it's the back page of that second one. We're going to stop. Just draw a line above the daily root activities because we're not going to look at the specific activities right now, but I just want you to draw a line there because we are going to look at the information before that. And what I wanted us to do is just to start out in a jigsaw, just kind of looking at what word study is, what other teachers have thought about it, and just really get grounded in what we're going to do today. And then as we move through what you have, everything is going to make sense and connect. And so you're really going to, I hope you're a nerd like me. I keep talking to you like you are. But I love to learn, and I love word study. So we're going to have a good time with this today. I am going to give you a little assignment. It looks like most of you, of course, we're sitting in pairs. If you're more than two, that's fine. But what I would like for you to do is, you have the article that starts here. It's called Bringing Word Study to Intermediate Classrooms. You're going to read, front and back until you get to, which is just 2 pages front and back, and not even complete. What I would like you to do is you with your partner, or partners if you have 3, because some of you do, if you will just kind of take those parts and say, hey, I'll take these paragraphs, and you can take these and these. What I'd like for you to do is I want you to use the Post-its that you have in front of you. Hopefully you have some. If you don't, I have some more. Always have extra. But what I would like for us to do is, after you assign, each member in your group takes an assigned piece. I want you to read it, I want you to study it, and then you're going to share it with one another, okay? So I'm going to leave it to you as professionals to look at this piece with your colleague or colleagues next to you, and just those couple of pages, go ahead and assign yourselves parts. Use your Post-its to jot your notes, and after you read it, share it.
Oh, good, then you can help me with my part. I don't like to read it. I don't Oh, well, you want to be first, though? Because I don't like doing it. I'll be the end.
You want to join us, or do you want to? Here. Sandy is going to be results. Do you want to do presentation? And then, yes. All right. So which do you want, the first or the second? Yep. I was thinking about that this morning and thought. All right, Mr. Ward. Yeah. Talk about beginning just talks about how he studies the spelling patterns to be active and engaging, and then the spelling to that type of thing. That's just perfect. Readers and writers and language alphabet identification seems like traditional spelling, enable inferior and other or fourth graders or section okay, good. Yeah, of course it talks about more they understand sound pattern and different things of being active and have trouble with just so they don't recognize it or call with the words they call spellers and then those that syllable so that's related to that and I know, I would have loved it. You mean I'm not in that right here?
Okay, we'll give you just about a minute to finish up. Okay, let's pull it back together, please. Let's pull it back together. I would like for us, I'm glad that you had an opportunity to read and discuss that with your colleagues. Would anybody like to share anything that just stuck out to them so that you can identify with in the article? And not everybody speak out at once. Come on. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I like the Greek and Latin roots. I've been using those with the prefix books and been using those for a long time, and I think that's really important because of the fact that there are so many Greek roots that are derived from so many of the words kids have never seen, but when they put that prefix, they can at least figure out what the prefix means and then go from there.
Exactly. And it is a big part of our vocabulary, our language.
Another one was the concern that parents and traditional spelling and how to explain this to parents is going to be very interesting.
That's the fun part.
That's the fun part.
It's different. Anytime you see that shift,
Yeah,
you
right.
know, it's difficult, but yes. What else? Oh, come on. No one else wants to share anything? Okay, well what we'll do is this. Go ahead and put these articles to the side for now. I think it gave us a really good introduction to what we're going to be looking at together. And that's getting started with your work study vocabulary curriculum, your kits. Everybody has one in front of them. Just to let you know before we get in that all the boxes look alike, of course, even though they're different grade levels. You can see that. And don't you just love how, yours isn't at all. But if you're looking at the end part, the way that you can tell the difference is you have that nice little check mark or X on that tiny little square on the end of your kit. Do you see yours? You don't see it there? Okay, and that's what it is. If it's, just to let you know what that is, the one that says Start 1, this is where we're really starting word study vocabulary. So that's for 3rd grade. So if you have Kit 1, that's for 3rd grade. If you have Kit 2, which will be blue, that's going to be for 4th grade. If you have Kit 3, that's orange, and that's 5th grade. And then you have the red, and that, of course, is 6th grade. But because word study, 3rd grade and up, cover the last 2 spelling stages, the last stage, which is in 5th and 6th grade, is where we have these derivational constants. See, you and I are still we're in that stage. That's the highest stage you can go. So the learning in these, it's just a constant learning with these lessons. So we're going to get into it more specifically so that you can understand more of that, but I just wanted to let you know what that meant. All right, we're going to go ahead and get going. We're really going to be looking at your word study and vocabulary skill bags and the important pieces of them and the spelling component. We're also going to look at all the student components, the things that the students are going to use in the lesson, and also your teacher support materials that are in there. It's really nice to have the lesson plan already written for you. And also just the key features that we're going to find with our word study and vocabulary. The last piece of it, assessment tools. And that's one of the things that many educators are very concerned about. We're going to talk about the assessment that this provides, the different types that you have, so that you can have progress monitoring as well. Now, this is Kathy Gansky, or Kathy Gonsky, depending on who you talk to. But anyway, she's wonderful, and this is one of her quotes. As students work with words, they not only examine the sound, pattern, and meaning relationships of their spellings, but also come to understand and use the words. That's where your vocabulary comes in. This is important considering the advantage that students that have well-developed vocabulary knowledge over peers that do not have this knowledge in comprehending what they read. And we know that students come to school with varied vocabulary. They all come in different places, so we know the advantage that the students have that come in with the vocabulary knowledge. I would like for you to do this. Teachers, I would like for you to read this, and then when you finish reading it, I'm just going to ask you a few questions about it. Can anyone tell me what this passage is about? We've got a GT person in here, gifted and talented.
Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after.
Yay, y'all need to give her a hand. How many else got that? It took me a little bit. I had to study it a little bit. Okay, but let's think about it, because I know your minds were working really hard to try to figure out what in the world this was about. You know, our students feel like this a lot. But let's just take that and let's take the strategies. Think about the strategies that you used to try to figure out what this was or what this meant. What did you do? Tell me one thing that you did that helped you figure out what it was.
I used word parts. I have had 3 years of high school Spanish and 2 years of college French. And so my Greek and Latin roots from my foreign language experience came very handy. And my dad is a science teacher, and I took every science class he taught, so.
That's good.
Homo sapiens got that one right away.
All right. So you have some background knowledge that really aided you with those, especially with the different languages. How about others? Did you see something that looked kind of familiar but was different? Most of us probably saw that. Using word parts. Somebody give me a word that you figured out but only because you used a portion of it. Juvenescent, because we know what? What word do we know that's like it? Absolutely. So we know what that means. All right, how about another one? Aqueous, did I hear somebody say that? What do we know about that?
Water.
Okay, we know that part. What else?
Cylindrical vessel.
Vertiginous.
What's that?
Vertiginous.
It's gonna be hard to pronounce, aren't they? I'm not sure which. Oh, right here, okay. Yes, vertiginous. All right, tell me, what was it?
Like vertical.
Vertical, okay. What else?
Cranial fissure.
Cranial fissure.
Broken crown.
All right, anything else? Isn't this interesting? Because this is not the way that we speak. These words are words we do not use in our everyday vocabulary. However, in trying to understand what it was saying, we were using our knowledge of word parts, words that we do know, to figure out words that we do not know. And that's how we do it. So word study is so nice because that's exactly what you do. So if you can think about your students reading more complex text, let's look at it from that angle. When they are reading it, they're going to be unfamiliar with some of those words. But if they have some knowledge of word parts, then they can use that knowledge to help them figure out what the word is. And if they're reading the words around in that sentence or the paragraph or whatever it is, they can comprehend the text. So that's the important thing. Also, through your word study vocabulary, of course, you have the spelling component, so you're going to learn a lot about words and how they work. So if your students are encoding or writing, they're going to know how those work and how to spell those correctly. But everything will become a part as they work through these words, will become their own vocabulary. We'll kind of hear some of those words in their conversations and also in their writing. Okay? Kind of fun, huh? Give yourself an A+. All right. Just very quickly, these are the 5 the areas of beginning reading instruction. These are essential from all the way from the lower elementary of just phonemic awareness. However, we have some upper elementary kids that have not had enough phonemic awareness, and because of that, they're struggling. Another part is the phonics aspect, those sound symbol relationships and how things work, the vocabulary, the fluency, and all of those taught explicitly helps with the last one, which of course is comprehension. Now today, we're going to specifically be looking at the phonics and vocabulary part. And why do we need to do this? Because we want to build that automaticity. We want them to be able to encode when they're spelling or writing, and we're also wanting them to decode as they're reading and analyzing words, word parts, to comprehend text like you and I tried to in that paragraph that I showed you, Jack and Jill. Also, to just support vocabulary, we're going to be going through some of those parts of the lesson so that you can see how they support it. We're thinking about word study and vocabulary. What I would like for you to do, and I'm going to time you, I'm going to do like 3 minutes. All I want you to do is turn to your partner and talk about, okay, what are some characteristics of word study? And then, what are the characteristics of vocabulary? Or both of them, or do they have some common ground? But take about 3 minutes and just discuss what the characteristics are of each and maybe what they have in common. Okay?
More than just so right. I mean, what grammar, and I know that's not true, like core vocabulary kind of. And I think What else would it get But that's what I mean, that's what I said.
Okay. Now, we're just pulling all of our new knowledge together, and I'm going to give you another piece, okay? What we find out as we get into our word study vocabulary is we need to know, it talked in our article about a systematic approach or incidental as was used pretty much in your article. Well, in one area of your article, it said that a systematic approach to word knowledge instruction certainly would be best. But teachers who did not wanted to stick a few activities in here and there, that's what this talked about. You and I, with our word study vocabulary, you're taking that systematic approach, okay? And we're going to learn about what exactly does that mean. Bless you. And the lessons that you're using with your kids are with those that are that you're going to be using with your children or your students. They are developed to be 20 to 30-minute lessons, so that you can get in there, you can teach it directly, systematically, very explicitly, and with a manageable amount of time. So that's what we're going to be looking at and what you have. Before we do that, I want us to talk about what those stages are, because you're going to be teaching skills from specific stages. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be giving everyone one of these stages booklets. And every time, teachers, I have done this, I've done this activity many, many times. But every time I do it, teachers will say afterwards, oh my goodness, that's why. Because if you start thinking about some things that your kids have done in the area of spelling and such, that you think, why in the world did they choose those letters as the blend, or why did they use this? When you read this, it's going to be kind of an eye-opener, and you're going to say, oh, okay, I get it. So this is going to be really nice. Everybody gets one, and what I'm going to do is you have the spelling stages, and there are 5 of them. There's emergent, letter name, within word, syllable juncture, and derivational constancy, but we want to know how all of those work, okay? And a lot of you in here may be very knowledgeable about this, which would be really good, because then we can share that expertise. You can share that expertise with your colleagues or have a good discussion around it, because we don't sit around talking about this every day, do we? No, we're busy trying to teach, and this is our time to gain some knowledge that's really going to affect our instruction. So, what you're going to do is you are going to have to get in groups. So what I was thinking, and I may just let you as professionals decide this, you can do it this way. Normally I put about 5 people in each group, and then each member of course takes the stage. You read your stage, make your important notes, and then when everybody does that, you start with the emergent stage and that person shares, what is that all about? And so forth. Now, if you don't want to move around, I was thinking you could turn around, you know, and work with those at that table. And, but if you just want to stick to your partner, I'm all about letting you be how you want to be. But if you want to do that, then you need to assign yourselves, take 2 stages or, you know, each, so that you can make sure that you get through them. But this is going to be so eye-opening for those of you that have not had an opportunity just to sit down and look at it. I will tell you that in 4th grade, I had one particular student, I can remember him like it was yesterday, Tyrone. Tyrone was here and liked to do this to me. But Tyrone always put some weird letters together for blends. Like if I said tree, he would spell it C-H-R. Or, you know, what you're going to see, drum, J-R. Wow, where in the world did that come from? Well, duh. When I was looking at this, it totally makes sense. It's an affricate. And an affricate, it's made pretty much in the same place in the mouth. It makes it very difficult to hear and understand. So when they hear it, they automatically do it because it's placed in that same, you know, like the drum. If you go dur, dur, everybody do that blend DR. Dur, dur. Now do the CHR. Chur, chur, dur, chur, dur, chur. And if you go back and forth, can you tell your neighbor what you did differently? Very difficult, isn't it? Because they're made right there at the same place. There's just a slight difference. So it's little things like that that will make sense to you when you just take this information. The way this is done, in fact, if you want to work in groups of 4, you don't have to worry about the emergent. I'll take care of the emergent for you, okay? But you will have the little bit of information about the stage and then many examples that explain. So you have the letter name stage, here's within word information and examples. Syllable juncture information and examples and so forth. You're going to love this and you can keep these. So decide right now how you want to do that, and I'm going to come around and give these out to you. Take them and pass it.
Depends on what you want to do. Do less words?
What about you?
Join us.
You're fine. You can read the same as mine, so you can do the same slow reader.
Are you the emergent?
Yes, I'll do the emergent.
All right, Stacy.
I don't have one.
Stacy. We need one. Okay, your nose.
I'll do emergent. Is that okay?
Oh, you do number 2. Okay, all right.
Oh, that's really odd.
Oh, wait a minute. You guys have better spellers than this one.
What do we do? 1, 2, 3. You should, right? Look at 3. That's you.
This is one pattern.
Oh, wait. Okay, look at mine. Yes, look at mine.
I'll be fine.
Does anybody else have 2 pages? We all do. Except me. I'll do letter names. All right. And mine will be here, so.
All right, sounds good.
It's a good match. Yeah. Isn't it funny when she talks.
Derivitational. It's not tational. Oh, where's the word? I'm not even seeing the word.
Okay, you read your own, would you? Come on.
Maybe after we read this, we'll be able to figure it out.
But when you're doing this like a minute, I will let her name see. She is my index star in sounds, letter sounds. And so she that's just a control, but it is not.